There are now less than few days remaining to the earliest rumored date for the Galaxy S24 Ultra's release. Samsung's next anticipated flagship phone is likely coming in January to wage war on the titanium iPhone 15 Pro Max. Aside from the potentially earlier announcement and release date, we seem to already know a lot about the upcoming device thanks to the wide barrage of leaks and rumors flying around. One thing is for sure, the Galaxy S24 Ultra will be a major step in the Galaxy S series evolution going forward. The recent round of rumors all seem to indicate that we might see a slightly earlier announcement for the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Galaxy S24 or S24 Plus for that matter. Most industry insiders and leakers have their collective gaze fixated on the middle of January and January 17 in particular as the most likely potential announcement date for Samsung's upcoming top flagship. While we initially anticipated a early February announcement, a mid-journey debut wouldn't be too extraordinary. It perfectly falls into the recently established January-February announcement and release window that most recent Galaxies have enjoyed. In particular, the Galaxy S21 Ultra was announced on January 14, 2021 and released globally on January 19, 2021. An earlier announcement and release would help Samsung gain ground on Apple's iPhone 15 series, the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max in particular, which were announced in mid-September 2023. With tons of new features on deck, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is literally a figuratively one hot rival, so now the ball is entirely in Samsung's side of the court. The largest and most feature-rich among Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S24 lineup will be the Galaxy S24 Ultra. We expect that the phone will inherit the large 6.8-inch display of the Galaxy S23 Ultra as well as its extraordinary 10x periscope camera and the built-in S Pen stylus. The initial rumors reveal that Samsung won't be changing the winning formula with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, thus we expect mostly minor and evolutionary improvements including but not limited to a faster new chipset, a larger battery, possibly faster charging as well as much brighter display and smoother display. The Galaxy S24 Ultra will probably be announced in January 2024 and go on sale shortly after. We remain hopeful that Samsung will find even more ways to make the Galaxy S24 Ultra an exciting phone. Here are the expected change of the Galaxy S24 Ultra in a nutshell. The new titanium design might be exclusive to the Galaxy S24 Ultra. The phone will likely feature the upcoming Qualcomm 8 Gen 3 chip exclusively around the globe. There are also rumors about Samsung's own Exynos chipset making a comeback but might only grace Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus. Improved new 200 megapixel camera sensor could be making the rounds. New 5x telephoto instead of the 10x periscope. Samsung might use a brighter display, legally capable of hitting 2500 nits of peak brightness. Up to 16 GB of RAM might be available on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. The rumor mill is already kicking into top gear, so tag along we explore everything there is to know about the upcoming Galaxy S24 Ultra specs, features and all there is to know about the flagship ahead of its release. We don't expect Samsung to raise prices and sell a more expensive Galaxy S24 Ultra. The starting price will likely start at $1200 for the 256 GB version, $1300 for the 512 GB one, and $1619 for the range-topping and super premium 1TB version of the flagship. That was the pricing of the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and we are hopeful that those price tags will remain set in stone. Samsung is shaking up the camera setup at the rear of the Galaxy S24 Ultra. There will no longer be a 10x periscope camera, which has kind of been the highlight of the previous Galaxy Ultra phones. In its place, Samsung will be using a 5x telephoto similarly to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Rumors have it Samsung would use Sony's IMX854 sensor for the 5x telephoto, which would peg the resolution at 50 megapixel. The sensor size with this bad boy will measure at 1 by 2.52 inch with 0.7 micron pixel. There's the very high possibility that the Galaxy S24 Ultra would still be a long zooming monster thanks to sensor cropping, so don't be so quick to write out that 100x space zoom just yet. Aside from that, Samsung will be keeping the 200 megapixel wide-angle sensor, but the Galaxy S24 Ultra will likely be featuring an improved 200 megapixel ISOCELL SP2SX 1x1.3 inch sensor with 0.6 micron pixels, which will be building upon the Galaxy S23 Ultra's spectacular camera. This leak comes straight from S24 on the social network formerly known as Twitter. According to the speculation, Samsung could ditch the dedicated 3x telephoto camera and continue to solely rely on the 10x periscope lens. What about zoom levels between 1x and 10x? Well, cropping in the 200 megapixel ISOCELL sensor of the main camera could allow Samsung to employ a hybrid zoom that emulates the function of a 3x camera, of course with a little help from on-device AI. Rumors also call for a 150x space zoom features, an even longer throw in comparison with the 100x space zoom on previous Galaxies. Another Galaxy S24 Ultra camera improvement might have a lot to do with software. Leaker Yogesh Brar, who has a very decent track record of correct leaks, has it that Samsung will actually be focusing on image post-processing to squeeze out better photos out of its already impressive hardware. Just like Google, which uses machine learning and AI to achieve great camera results. Some of the earlier rumors suggested that the Galaxy S24 Ultra could do away with the Sony IMX image sensor on its telephoto or periscope cameras and substitute these with its own ISOCELL sensors. This will possibly allow Samsung to have greater control over the image quality and improve the synergy between the different cameras. Samsung has filed for a trademark protection of a so-called ISOCELL zoom in the UK, which leaves a lot to the imagination. A proper flagship should have lots of storage. Even in the base version, the Galaxy S24 Ultra would most likely start at 256 GB of internal storage, just as much as the Galaxy S23 Ultra has, and also offer 512 GB of the stuff, as well as range-topping version with the whopping 1 TB of storage. Of course, the latter is quite expensive but could definitely fit all the photos and videos you are going to take with the phone. The majority of rumors regarding the Galaxy S24 Ultra design claim that the Samsung might ditch armor aluminum and instead utilize titanium for the frame of the phone. This could make the flagship more rigid and corrosion resistant as well as boost its premiumness. The iPhone 15 Pro Max recently also substituted stainless steel for titanium, so it seems that the latter is quickly becoming the hot new commodity for flagships in 2023. This purported change in design would have saved the Galaxy S24 Ultra 1 gram of weight in comparison with the Galaxy S23 Ultra's 233 gram versus 234 gram. This is peculiar as titanium normally much denser than aluminum, so it's quite intriguing that Samsung has successfully shaved off some weight. Below, you see our renders of the Galaxy S24 series, the Galaxy S24 Ultra et al. Yes, it is clear as a day that we shouldn't expect a radically different S24 Ultra. The frame and the display are flatter than the last year's Galaxy S23 Ultra, making for one very iPhone 12, 13 or 14 looking Galaxy S24 Ultra. So expect a super premium candy bar phone with Gorilla Glass Victus 2 front in and back with an S Pen on deck and a mostly flat design. We don't anticipate any changes in the overall size of the phone, as the 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display is unlikely to grow in size or shrink to a smaller footprint. In 2023, the news broke that Samsung has headhunted for the chief design officer of Mercedes-Benz China, Hubert H. Lee, who will be head of mobile experience at Samsung and could theoretically introduce design changes to the flagship. However, we don't expect a totally revamped design, as it feels like Samsung has definitely found its groove as far as its most advanced flagship looks and feel like. As already mentioned, the Galaxy S24 Ultra will most likely come with a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display similar to its predecessors. What's more, the Galaxy S23 Ultra and Galaxy S22 Ultra used the same general display panel, so we kind of expect an upgrade with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Recent rumors suggest that Samsung might utilize a next-gen M13 OLED display panel, a thinner and more efficient panel in comparison with the M12 chip that is used on the Galaxy S23 series, the Galaxy Z Fold 5 or Z Flip 5, as well as the upcoming iPhone 15 series. Most importantly, this panel would allow the Galaxy S24 Ultra to boost the record 2500 nit peak brightness. Similar to the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Pixel 8 Pro, the Galaxy S24 Ultra will also have an extremely high eye-scoring brightness on par the most flagship phones in late 2023. Aside from that, one could assume that the Galaxy S24 Ultra will be outfitted with a 3080 by 1440 pixel panel with a rather decent 500 ppi sharpness, Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and the class-leading contrast, vibrancy, and overall color radiation that Samsung's flagship phone displays are usually known for. Long story short, the display will more likely than not be excellent. One recent rumor calls for a display refresh rate upgrade. It seems that the Galaxy S24 Ultra might score an even smoother 144Hz display, unlike its predecessor's 120Hz one. While this might sound like a big improvement, you might not be able to detect a very big difference. While the difference in smoothness between 60Hz and 120Hz can be easily detected, this isn't necessarily true for the minor jump from 120 to 144Hz, as any gamer might tell us. Thus, you might have a hard time picking out which one's which. Although Samsung has phones with an under-display selfie camera, we don't expect to see that one on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, as the image quality simply isn't comparable to regular selfie cameras just yet. Thus, we expect a punch hole to grace the front of the Galaxy S24 Ultra, facilitating a front-facing camera. Another important element that will be attributed with the display is the under-display ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which has been a staple of Samsung flagships for years and is now finally super fast and accurate. The latest rumors call for the use of the same 5000 mAh battery that has made the rounds on most flagship Galaxies for the past few generations, a 5000 mAh unit. Despite the earlier rumors about a possible stacked battery cell tech, which would have reportedly allowed Samsung to further improve battery density without increasing the cell size, Korean outlet The Elec expected a healthy 10% increase in battery capacity. This essentially means that the Galaxy S24 Ultra could have boosted a 5500 mAh battery without being much larger than the Galaxy S23 Ultra, but alas, it seems we are stuck in with a 5000 mAh unit once again. Samsung has been working on solid-state batteries with improved energy efficiency for a decade now, but nothing feasible has seemingly came out of this undertaking. What about graphene, the wondrous material that's touted as the end game for batteries? We have been hearing wondrous claims about those as well, but we wouldn't bet on the Galaxy S24 Ultra rocking one of these either. Despite our hopes for faster charging, rumors point out that the Galaxy S24 Ultra will likely still get 45 watts of fast wired charging, which should be enough to fully juice up the phone's 5000 mAh battery in an hour and change. Wireless charging as well as reverse wireless charging will also be on deck. We expect that the Galaxy S24 Ultra will come with One UI 6 based on Android 14. Among the new features that One UI 6 brings are a revamped quick settings panel that boosts larger, more expressive icons and a fresh layout, camera app enhancements, a redesigned Samsung Health app, a new camera widget, performance improvements, and of course new emoji are just some of the highlights of the upcoming software for Galaxy device. Now the most important part, should I wait for the Galaxy S24 Ultra? You should wait for the Galaxy S24 Ultra if you have kept yourself from upgrading the Galaxy S22 Ultra or Galaxy S23 Ultra and are rocking on an aging Galaxy flagship. Think Galaxy Note 9, Galaxy Note 10, Galaxy S10 Plus, and Galaxy S20 Ultra. Upgrading to the Galaxy S24 Ultra from any of those will almost certainly give you insane value and a vast improvement of your overall phone experience. You should not wait for the Galaxy S24 Ultra if you have just scored a flagship in the last 2 years and have no qualms about it, as flagship smartphones have peaked long ago and the overall new tech adoption has somewhat slowed down. Upgrading every 2 years is no longer necessary. Thus, if you have a fairly recent phone that does the job for you just fine, it's somewhat unlikely that the Galaxy S24 Ultra will be the second coming of the praised. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.